Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Horror Angler. So today we're going to be going over the mystery tackle box. I actually picked this up at Walmart and we're going to be doing an unboxing. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I haven't opened this yet, so I'm not really sure what's inside. For those of you who are curious, this is box number 65, as you can see right there. They have different ones, 65, they had 65 and 66 at the Walmart that I was at. But I think the way they do these is that each box, like the 65s, all the 65 boxes have the exact same thing. That's how I'm going to take it. So we're going to go ahead and get this opened up. Got a sticker right here on the side. Pop that open. So that's all that comes inside of this box. This is what you would typically see if you are subscribed to them. But we'll just go ahead and open it. I'm going to open it towards you guys so you guys get to see it first. Just like that. That's what you see first opening. Now what I like about these two is a lot of people, they'll do challenges with these boxes. So you open them up, you go through, and you fish basically with what you get. And I actually plan on doing that in the future. But what's pretty neat here is that you can see all this information right here. I'll see if I can get that zoomed in. Just like that. As you can see, it's got that tape measure on there. Usually hold the fish up to the box, take a picture, post it, and just tag them in there and stuff like that. So right off the bat, we have a mystery tackle box sticker right there. We have just a tips and tricks guide, just on different ways you can fish. I believe there's a way in there to be able to teach you how to tie a knot, tie your hook on. And right here at the top, awesome, some 4/0 hooks. These are EWGs, so that way you can get your plastics on there, which is awesome. I typically use 3/0 hooks, just because here in Indy, I mean, there's some pretty decent sized bass here, but they're nothing extreme, to be honest. So typically around 3/0 is a good size, I'd say. But 4/0 still, I mean, just a little bit bigger, still worth a shot. So there's that. This is just a card telling you what's inside the box. So first things first, I'll go ahead and move this. So you got the Livingston lures. It is a crankbait. It's 5/8 of an ounce. Let me see here. Dives down 10 foot, which is actually around this time of year where the bass are hanging lower down in the waters because of the cold temperature. This is something good to throw, just because it will dive down there right in front of their face. That's also a really good color. I like this color just because it, you know, up here we have crawfish, crawdads, however you guys say it, and they are that color. You got that orange with some of that red, and then also the brown. So that's a good bait. We're going to go ahead and set this to the side and get on to the next one. That brings us to the spinner bait. Now this, I haven't used this brand before. I hope I say this right, but it says Dobyns. It's D-O-B-Y-N-S. See if you guys can say it. But it's got two blades on it. One is silver, one is gold. This kind of on the bigger side of the spinner baits that I would throw. It still works perfectly, especially out there in the open water. Around this time of year, if you guys seen my last video, spinnerbait is actually something that I recommend using around this time. Just because with the flash of the blades, and then one of them, I've actually heard that not only do they create a shine, but it's a little bit of vibration to help draw those bass in. So again, good colors. We have clearer waters where we fish, so the chartreuse head here with the white underbelly is really gonna shine out there to them, grab their attention, come in for the strike. 1/2 ounce, so you do want to use a bit heavier of a line. In a pole, I would probably throw this on a medium heavy fishing pole. That way you have that kind of the backbone of the pole being able to come through and whip it out there and get it out there for you without, you know, either snapping your line off or whatnot. So it's a good bait. You just work this nice and slow through the water. With it being colder out, what I'd probably recommend is after you cast it out, let it just sink for a few seconds, and then just doing a slow reel in. The bait does all the work for you. You don't have to do anything. Some people like to add a little bit of a swim bait there just to give it some more action there on the back end, but honestly these work perfectly just the way they are, and they'll come up and hit it. So we'll go ahead and get to the next one. And that brings us to the Thunderhawk. Looks hybrid diver. So I haven't heard of these before, so I kind of want to pop it open real quick just to see what we're looking at, then kind of go over it together. Alright guys, now that I got that all open up, let's see what we're dealing with. So you get two of these. It's kind of like a weighted head jig hook, I guess you could call it, but basically you got the hook with the weighted head. Then there's actually a separate lure that it comes with two of them already installed on them, but basically it's like a small swim bait that meets up perfectly with the jig head there. And then from what I assume, because this is pretty heavy, this is going to sink down to the bottom pretty quick, and it's going to basically act kind of like a finesse setup. Basically the head hit down at the bottom here, and then this tail, with just moving, jerking it, or even just slowly dragging across the bottom, is actually going to flop back and forth. So it's going to move, get their attention, and draw them in. I haven't actually used one of these before. You know, probably in rockier areas, I'm assuming it will do better. I don't really see throwing this into, you know, a lot of timber or wooded structure, so like a tree that's fallen in the water. I don't really see throwing this around that, just because with that hook being that exposed, it won't take much for it to just barely clip a limb and then just bury itself inside of there. So just be careful using these, and we'll go ahead and hop on to this next one. Alright guys, last but not least, we have the Jocko Shaker. So this one, it actually shows you a few different ways that you can tie it up. You have the jig head, double hook rig, which I haven't used that before unless I'm using like frog, and then a Carolina rig. So a few different options there you guys can see right there on the back. I haven't heard of this brand before, and it even looks like it has some Japanese writing here at the top, but it's got a 4.5 inch, so I'm not really sure, unless that's their way of saying 4.5 inch, but it's a pretty decent bait. We'll go ahead and we'll take one out of here and let you guys see it. Alright guys, so it comes with 3 of them, and overall, whew, kind of stinky, but that's fine. That's what those bass like. Pretty good size actually, and they even have the slit in the underbelly here to help hide your hook, which I'm not sure if you guys can see that. But instead of having a huge gap right here down the center, it's actually looks like they just cut right down to help hide that hook there for you. So you can take this through wooded areas such as the tree structures. And basically you would just rig this up any way you really want. I'd probably end up using the Texas rig personally. Basically all you're doing is taking this 4/0 hook, and basically what you'll do is with the slit here on this back side, we'll take your hook, gonna run it in. You don't have to run it very far, but just enough where you can catch about that much meat on it. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna feed that up towards the top of the hook, and once you get about right here, your bait will actually kind of turn with you as we slide it up. And now I'll put the hook right here in front for you guys to see. You see roughly about where it's going to come out, so about right there. And you'll take your hook, press it directly behind there, and as you do this, it's hard to see because of how well they hid the hook. Basically it comes right here through the backside and comes out, and it's kind of hard to tell, but where this slit is, that hook is actually resting just inside there. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that. But what's cool about that is with this being cut back to hide the hook, you know, right now it's considered weedless, so you can drag it through weeds and it isn't going to snag. But as soon as the bass bite, this is actually going to squeeze down here, revealing that hook there, and that's how they get snagged. So it's pretty cool setup they got there. I don't have any of the swim baits I use currently here in front of me to show you the difference, but that's pretty neat. It actually hides that pretty well. Got that green with some of the black flake, and then with that big paddle tail, that's going to give us some real good action as it flows through the water. And then, like I said, rigging this Texas rig style, you would just have the bullet sinker weight here on the front, fed through your line feeding through it. Overall, pretty good. I believe this box was around 20 bucks, so they say you get about $25 worth of, you know, tackle and gear inside, and I believe it. I mean, you know, swim baits, hooks, you get a couple jig heads, a deep diving crankbait, and even a giant spinnerbait. Overall, I'd say you get your money's worth. Like I said, with these being numbered, you don't want to buy the exact same box unless you want the exact same gear to come out of it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm definitely going to try to take these out here the next time I go fishing, which hopefully is pretty soon. It's getting colder and colder. I'd like to get out and fish before the water starts to ice over really bad. You know, and then in the future, after everything is icing up, say here in about January or February, I'd like to get out and do some ice fishing, take you guys along with me. So you guys let me know what you thought. Do you guys use the mystery tackle boxes? Do you guys use Lucky Tackle Box? How many of you guys even heard of Guggen Squad? And if you guys are using those, do you guys prefer those baits over these? So I'd like to hear that from you. Let me know what you guys use. This is just typically what I use, and I'm up here in Indiana. If you're from down south, let me know what you guys are using this time of year, and see if it can be utilized up here up north. So you guys stay tuned to the next episode. I'm hoping to be fishing by then. If not, we'll see what we're getting into. So you guys stay tuned. See you next time.